This is T-Shirt Joe from FastCustomShirts.com, and you're listening to the Timo and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there is my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, the haunting of Harley.
Hey, yeah, that's right.
How are you doing, my friend, Mr. Ben Harley? How the hell are you?
I'm doing okay. I've been known to haunt a few places.
Yeah.
Here and there, yeah.
And to be haunted by various things, too, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Right now, Ben
I
Harley.
think I've had someone tell me, don't I have a house to haunt? So.
Right. Right now, Mr. Ben Harley, we're all being haunted by snow.
Oh,
Snow.
man, we are snowpocalypse 2021.
Jesus Christ. And I'm not even swearing. You know, I'm petitioning for an intervention by just yelling out the name for crying out loud. Man, lots of snow. We have had snow apocalypse. Now, as you listen to this, it's probably going to be 45 and raining in the country, but we're a week behind. So we're under a blanket.
Bear with us.
Yeah, we're under a blanket of the white powder. So it's
oh my God. Tim, that was like they say like the storm stretched from like Houston, Texas all the way up here to like, almost Canada, and then into Canada. But we are in our second round of it here. Right. And it's funny, Tim, up here in the apartment. Now our windows aren't that high off of the roof here, but they're about 2 or 3 feet. Mm-hmm. And I have snow all the way up to my windows, like up to the screen. I mean, covering the screen. So,
right. We have snow up to the butts of the chairs on the back patio, and it's up to the door too. So it's a couple feet out there too. So now, what are the temperatures? Because temperatures here are 0 pretty much. What are they up there?
Oh, see, we've been in the teens.
Yeah,
right now it's
killed.
12. It's 12 degrees, but like the last like 3 weeks has been nothing but in the teens. So we've been it's been cold for us, and we've had a couple bouts of snow, but not like this. And I'm okay. I'm actually okay with this, Tim. It can keep on snowing until it goes over my windows, as far as I'm concerned. As long as I can get out the door,
just keep you
if I have to.
Yeah, right.
I'm
just
fine.
Your way out.
Yes,
put a hard hat with a lamp on it and just start tunneling your way out. So keep a canary with you to make sure you can breathe. And
And I'm okay with that right now.
Right. I found a couple things to do, Mr. Ben Harley. Of course, I've been curating my library, which is something that I can always do.
That you need another house for just your movies.
Right.
You guys have to build one of those pre-made steel buildings out there on your property. Just house your movies.
Right. I did start recording the. I know it sounds odd, but from home, I started recording the new Ultraman record.
Nice.
Yes. Okay. So this is funny. So like, there's lots of different ways you can skin a cat. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different ways you can record a record. So the way we're starting this is I'm starting to a click track.
Okay,
and thinking of the songs and playing them to a click track in order to send to Gabe, our drummer, to play the drums over. And I'm like, I got no vocals. I got nothing. I got my imagination. I have no guidepost.
Click,
click. Right. Of course, for Ultraman, it's more like click, 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 click.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have started a record, and but basically what it is, they're called scratch tracks. So I send like sloppy guitars that are to a click track to Gabe, our drummer. He records his drums to those, sends me the drums back, and then I try to do the guitars for real. And you basically, I mean, it's kind of how records have been recorded for a long time. You basically either do them live or you do them this way, but normally people are together. You know, I mean, still to this day, a lot of times people are together. But no, we're doing it the postmodern way. We're going to do it separately. But in a world of COVID, in a world of COVID and in a world of snowpocalypse, has a lot to do with it, too. That's how we're going to...
Tim, it's hard for you to even get to a recording studio right now.
I got to leave my house. You kidding me? So,
that's hard, period. No matter if there's snow or not.
Right. Well, speaking of punk rock records, Mr. Ben Harley, I got a fun little story for you. So our good pal, Mr. Mark Diamond, we talk about very often, who is on the show. Yeah, the Fresh Prince of Darkness from the Dwarves. Friend of the show, friend of ours, and he's on the show sometimes, and we talk about him a lot. He was listening to last week's show, at least in the Space-Time Continuum last week. I don't know how to reference that to our listeners right now listening, but
that was our Mako episode, right?
Well, I talked about the Three Stooges movie, and we had a little conversation about the Three Stooges, and you were talking about how Moe is your favorite Stooge and stuff.
Yeah.
So Mark was listening to the show. He sends me a note last night. He says, hey, fun little story. And I asked him permission. Can I tell us in the show? He said, sure, go ahead. And
sure.
He said when he was a tyke, they opened the first Toys R Us in the San Fernando Valley. So the very first Toys R Us, when Mark was a baby, they opened it up. And so for the grand opening, his mom took him there. Okay. And to celebrate the grand opening, guess who was there? Moe. And so apparently awesome. Mark, I don't think Mark really remembers it, but Mark says according to his mom, he met Moe, and Moe gave Mark the good old eye poke.
Did he?
Yeah, he gave the little kid the good old fake Moe eye poke, So yeah,
that's awesome.
But Mr. Ben Harley, you're one step away from Moe Howard giving an eye poke.
That's right. Now, right. So,
never mind the punk bands. Never mind this and that. We know a guy who got eye poked by Moe Howard. That's impressive.
Oh, that's awesome, buddy. That's just, that would be so cool,
Yeah.
And I love too the story, keeping it sort of punk rocky, is when they actually called Moe, the one guy from Iggy and the Stooges, called to say, hey, we have this band out of Detroit, and we're calling ourselves the Stooges, and he said to him, I don't give a shit what you call, as long as you don't call it the Three Stooges.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I don't care what you call it.
Yeah, he was a little cantankerous, but in a fun way, in a good way.
Oh,
you don't blame him. Tough old
I can't.
Dude.
To keep that going and keep the spirit of that alive, and also be the taskmaster, had to be hard for him too. I think I think that was it's a hard job, and God bless him, because look at all the years of stuff that we got because of that. You know what I mean? And for him to be that character too. Wasn't the most lovable character, but to me, that's what made sense out of all of it. He made sense of it all. You know what I mean? For me, and I liked his comedy. It wasn't, poor guy.
Well, can you imagine? Awesome. Can you imagine though, in 2021, some old man at a toy store poking a baby in the eyes and that being cute and being fun?
Right.
There are some things there are some things I think we've gone backwards on. It's like, oh, come on, Moe Howard, give me an eye poke, please slap me too. Give me a bonk on the head. Anything you want to do, give me the old tummy up the head, bonk.
Yeah. Grab me by the ear and twist my ear, all this. Oh man, just
right. Well, in fairness, Mark could have put his hand between his eyes and blocked it. Now we've all seen the block. It can happen.
Yes, it can.
Yeah, he had an opportunity to block it. He failed at that.
Gotta be sharp, bro.
He got the old eye poke. So speaking of eye pokes, Mr. Ben Harley, you've been poking your eyes. You said you've been watching lots of riff tracks and Mystery Science. You've been snowed in, trying to get some chuckles.
Yeah.
Trying to get some chuckles in, haven't you?
I've been trying to do a little riff tracking.
Yeah, we do the same thing. We go back and forth with Mystery Science. I was telling you, I got a hard drive now. It's kind of full of the stuff. So I just pop the old hard drive in the TV, and we turn that on now. But you got some other stuff, too. Not only have you been inundated with Mystery Science and riff tracks, you've been inundated with wild animals. Too. You've been watching lots of Nature Gone Amok stuff, haven't you?
Yeah. There's a new show, Tim, and it's kind of breezy, too. They're they're only like 20 minutes or so long, so the episodes are really fun, real breezy, but it's called Nature Gone Wild. And I know, Tim, this is right up your alley and mine, and also Mark Diamond's with animals run amok, and like the movies like we like with Jaws and Grizzly and Day of the Animals and things like that. But I've been watching. I've actually watched I binged watched the one day about 12 episodes. So I sat for almost 6 hours.
God.
But I really enjoy it. I was kind of doing it in between other things.
Right. But what's the wildest thing you saw? I mean, no pun intended, I guess. But
a lot of it, Tim, is like with a lot of the ocean stuff. There's a couple with like the whales, like these poor people. I should say poor people because you're out there, so you're the goofball in the first place if you're out there.
Right. Yeah, you're taking your life in your own hands yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. There was one incident where there's people out on kayaks and those guys on the wakeboards now where you stand up and it was one guy was filming and you could kind of see another kayak in front of him. Well, the water started to shake a little, and you can see like these fish start to jump up, and then all of a sudden here comes this whale, and the whale basically swallowed the entire kayak with two people in it. And then once it realized what it had, it kind of spit them out. But just to watch, all of a sudden, like that had to be so terrifying. Like just the water around you starts to bubble and fish start jumping up. And basically what it did is, it forced all the fish to the surface, but the kayak happened to be in the wrong spot at the wrong time. You know what I mean? Like, and
so he swallowed the people went patooey. He did a patooey, and he's like, "Get out of that!"
They went flying out. Yeah,
there's a human got my mouth.
Yeah, I will say there's only a few. Like, there's only been like one real bad shark one where actually the shark. There was a great white shark, and it ended up. And I've seen one similar to this where it got into the cage. From up top, it actually swam up and got into the cage, and there was a diver in there. And man, you can see that just the thrashing of the shark trying to get around, and then that poor guy's at the bottom of the cage while it's trying to get out. I mean, that would just have to be absolutely terrifying.
Right.
It's fun. It does remind me like of the Day of the Animals because a lot of times these animals, like with that whale thing, that was a little bit of a mistake. But then again, I've seen ones where the whales have leapt up and attacked boats. To get out of here, basically. And then there's also it was an interesting one with a guy, a hang glider, and he's hang gliding, and all of a sudden these two giant birds, I mean huge, like condor-sized birds, one crashes into him by accident and gets caught up in his and hang glider thing, and it's like a lot of stuff's pretty intense and. This one guy.
It's like stuff that would happen to Frank Drebin, like in a police or a police squad movie. Like, or Naked Gun. I mean, Naked Gun movie, but it's happening in real life, and it's not funny anymore because it's not Leslie Nielsen.
Right, and I'll tell you the one thing that was interesting to me. This grizzly bear comes out of the woods, and there's this guy, and the guy stands up to the grizzly bear. He not like Leslie Nielsen did. But when the bear comes at him, he roars at the bear, roar, and that grizzly bear's like, I'm getting out of here. He did. He's like, I'm gone.
That's crazy.
So it's kind of funny. You're like, what the hell? At least it worked that time, But But it's been fun watching that, and then the riff track has kept me in a good mood.
I got something here for you. So I did watch a couple of things I'm going to go through, and it'll lead into your aquatic nature attack movies and stuff. So this is an interesting movie. So from 2008, right away, it's going to be interesting because I'm watching a movie from 2008. That's not a good year for Timo. No. Timo does not like movies from back then. And this is a made for Sci-Fi Channel movie. Or at least released directly to Sci-Fi Channel movie. And it's Canadian.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Right? So the movie is called Sea Beast.
Okay. All right.
And it stars Corin Nemec, who I kind of like. He's just one of those guys, or whatever. He's a B-movie actor, TV actor, stuff like that. Canadian, I would assume.
Yeah.
And it also has Gary Hudson in it. If you know the guy's name, you know his name. He's an older TV actor, older kind of character actor guy. And it was just one of those throw a dart at the wall movies. We were having a night where we didn't want to have to turn the brain cells on too hardcore or anything. And I had this movie. I'm like, let's just throw in Sea Beast. I got it. Let's just throw it in.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, though. This is a Sci-Fi Channel movie that didn't have the asylum attached to it, okay? So it didn't have that David Michael laugh. Now, something I have not reported back to also is that we have Angio wants to watch the Sharknado movies with me and Chance, because when Chance was little, he had a thing for the Sharknado movies, okay? So as a family, or at least the three of us, while we're in kind of quarantined up here toward the end of this pandemic, Angio on the weekends
and snowed in now.
Right, exactly, yeah. So Angio wants to watch Sharknado movies, so we've been kind of stuck watching those. But it's been a kind of a contrast when I stick this movie in called Sea Beast. Now, it's probably got the same budget as an asylum film. The caliber of actors is actually, I don't know, about the same, all things being equal. There's no big stars. in Sea Beast. And see, like in the Asylum movies, they take a washed up actor and they pay him to be in the movies, or they get a lot of cameos, a lot of like glorified cameos they put in movies and stuff. Well, this thing, first of all, and I've been talking about this the last few weeks, it's played straight. Okay, it's not played like the Asylum is constantly winking at the camera. It's constantly doing in jokes. It's constantly doing like pop culture references. No, this is an old-fashioned B monster movie where the actors are showing up with the script and they're going, okay, what do we do today? You know what I mean? Like they're just making a movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're CG monsters. There's like a new they're like fishmen monsters coming out of the water and stuff, attacking people, and they're CG, but they're not Asylum CG. Like one thing that we were noticing, and I've noticed this before in the Asylum movies, is what the hell are they even pointing the camera at? It's almost as if they're taking edited effect shots from better movies that weren't done yet. They weren't rendered totally. And it doesn't matter what what the camera's pointing at. It doesn't matter what the scene is. They just hodgepodge the shit together into an Asylum movie. It's like, wait, they just showed a bridge, a mountain, and a leaf of lettuce. What the hell was all that about? You know, you have no idea what the hell they're doing or showing. You have no reference, no frame of reference at all. The other day they were saying they were in South Carolina trying to make it to Florida, and they were in the desert mountains. Harley, we're kind of more eastern kind of guys. I promise you that landscape doesn't exist out here at all. It's a little more lush.
Just not.
Yeah. We don't know what deserts are. I've never been in a desert, not a real one. So, but the movie is just played straight. It's not. Look. It's almost like these actors show up these movies saying, look, the scripts are crazy enough. The movie itself is the gag. Let's be professionals in it. So, and Christopher Lee used to say this. Let's be professionals in it, because you can be in a bad movie, but the key is to not be bad in the movie.
Right.
And that's what makes those old movies so great, is people like Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing. You know, Vincent Price had fun with his movies, but you hired Vincent Price to have that scene chewing. He had teeth marks on the walls, man. That guy, you knew what he was doing. But this movie, is it great? No. Is it like, should you run out and find it? No. It's, again, called Sea Beast, but it's streaming on Amazon Prime, and if you want to watch something, check it out. It's an okay water monster movie. It's okay.
That's on, and it's on Prime.
It's on Prime. It's called Sea Beast. Good. Now, will you get tired of watching it? Will it get long in the tooth for it? Yes, absolutely. And you'd be like, oh boy, here we go. But as you're watching it, you'll realize, but I'm actually watching a competent movie. It is not the Asylum. It isn't Shark Octopus versus four-headed plant monster. You know, this is literally
the six-headed shark.
Right. It's another variation on Jaws with little sea monsters instead of a shark, but it's the same. You have Quint characters, and you have the whole. There's always a marine biologist, or in the 50s, as we're going to learn in our official film, there's always a geologist in the area.
Geologist.
We've learned this a long time ago. So, but anyway, again, from 2008, it's called Sea Beast. It is a good example of an acceptable Sci-Fi Channel movie, and I don't know why the Asylum is so damn popular. I understand why the posters and the names are popular, but to actually watch the movies,
most of them are just god awful.
They're painful.
Really bad. Yeah,
because
and the effects are really painful too.
It's all painful. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not being played straight. They're jokes onto jokes. Yeah, and they're not. It's so to me. The movie is more for someone who doesn't care about horror films or something like that than it is for anything else. But anyway.
Well, I just came across, and I didn't watch the trailer, but Clownado.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we don't need. Yeah. We don't need Clownado.
Exactly. No.
All right. I can't believe I live in 2021 and I actually have to say on a podcast, we don't need Clownados. We don't need those things. So moving forward, Mr. Ben Harley, let's see here. Not unfortunately, but also Angio and I have been on a freak out. Now, check out this freak out. Now, again, we always talk about freak outs are not on purpose. Yes. They happen to you. You don't realize you're going on the freak out. Otherwise, it's just a marathon. These are not marathons. These are freakouts. They jump out. They come out of nowhere. They scare you. They startle you. Sometimes you can't sleep for a while. So this one is John Vernon. We're in a John Vernon freakout. That's John a good freakout.
Vernon, nice. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Right. So to start off, the first John Vernon freakout, okay, so we watched from 1984, we watched the movie Savage Streets.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Which has my favorite bathtub scene with Linda Blair in it. Now, we all like the curvy ladies. And in 1984, Linda Blair was curvy, cute, and she was in a bathtub, and it was in a movie called Savage Streets, and I owned it.
Wasn't it about prostitutes or something?
No, it was actually about high school. It was about high school kids, and the Linda Blair is a tough girl. There's like the school gangs.
Okay. Yeah.
It's more like class of 1984. It's more like that kind of movie where it's teen delinquency.
Pretty girl from Shopping Mall in it too.
You are correct. We did talk about that because she showed off her lady parts in that movie too. And I told Angio that you sent me a meme of that woman's assets.
Oh, good Lord.
Yes.
I didn't even know it could fit all in a meme. Yeah.
Right. So, but no, this is one where Linda Blair, her little sister being played by Linnea Quigley. Never mind, Linnea Quigley is a year older than Linda Blair, but
but that's
playing her little mute sister, who can't speak, she's mute, and she gets raped by the mean guy gang in the school, and she runs the girl gang, and so it sparks a gang war of the sexes in high school, and John Vernon's caught in the middle of it. So only in 1984, Mr. Ben Harley, could they make these movies.
That's right.
Directed by Danny Steinman, director of Friday the 13th, the fifth one, A New Beginning, and also directed The Unseen, which I do like.
Ooh, yes,
that's a good one. So, So we're watching that, and I'm thinking, I like me some John Vernon because he always plays the same guy. He's always the same. What was it? I'm gonna get you, sucker, or was it one of those movies where they go? I guess he's Mr. Big, and they go, it's you, and it's such a knowing moment in the movie. He goes, yes. It's me. You're like, John Vernon, it's me. I love that moment. Yeah, he's great. So from 1987. All right, we popped in the rare, used to be watched a lot, but now rare film, Blue Monkey.
Oh, okay,
with Steve Railsback in it.
Yeah, now we reviewed that, I think.
We may have reviewed it like a VHS copy. It has come out on Blu-ray now, so I watched it on Blu-ray.
Okay.
This turkey is also Canadian. And it's got me some John Vernon in it also.
Nice.
Yeah.
We like our Steve Railsback.
We sure do. This is the fun sci-fi horror movies where a lot of it's taking place in some kind of facility, and there's monsters on the loose. It's a hospital of some sort, and there's alien insect monsters of some sort on the loose. So fun little 80s monster movie, Mr. Ben Harley, harmless little thing. And it is kind of odd though to see all the Canadians surrounding Steve Railsback, who we've been around Steve Railsback a lot. We've broken bread. We've had a little fun with Steve Railsback. He's not Canadian.
No, he's not.
It's not Canadian at all. So.
No.
But it was a fun little John Vernon freakout, Mr. Ben Harley. It wasn't a big one. It was only 2 movies, but another one's coming around the corner, right?
That's okay. Right, exactly. Because they come in 3s usually. Too,
right? They sure do. All right, moving on. 2 more flicks, Mr. Ben Harley. 2 more. So,
lay it on it. From
1982. You like 1982.
I like 82.
We watched the movie Night Shift.
Yes, I saw that was on Prime. Yeah.
Yes, so you got Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton. Yes. Do you recall it? Do you recall that? I told Angio, I said, this was a big movie when it came out. Ron Howard's first Hollywood movie as a director, and he actually has cameos in it. There's a scene where Henry Winkler is on the subway, and he starts getting menaced and annoyed by a mad saxophone player who's asking him for change and stuff. And it's Ron Howard. You don't see it, but it's actually Ron Howard doing it. So, got some Clint Howard in it, and Mr. Ben Harley has Shannon Daugherty in it.
Howard.
And it also has a very, very young Kevin Costner in it.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. There's a scene.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
You know the famous scene where they have the party in the morgue?
Yeah.
And Henry Winkler goes, "You are partying in a morgue," and the guy burps. It's a real famous old scene. Well, that's the scene where Kevin Costner's one of the partier guys.
Yeah.
So he's in it too. But fun movie. Shelley Long. Shelley Long's in it too.
Yep.
So good fun movie. Haven't seen that movie, Harley, since it was popular probably back in the 80s.
Well, yeah, me either. And I'm gonna have to cue that one up because I always kind of enjoyed it. Like, yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that.
Well, it was a star-making movie for Michael Keaton. And I told Angel when we were watching, I was like, see, you have to understand, this was 1982. A mere, 5 to 7 years later, you're trying to convince me that guy's going to be Batman?
Batman, right. Yeah,
and I told her,
exactly.
that, right. And then she looked at it going, okay, I can see that. I was like, yeah, because you looked at, this was who Michael Keaton was. He was a comedic actor. Yeah. And then you want to put him into Batman.
And the only thing, remember, seeing him that was even remotely, what was the one movie he was in about, he was an alcoholic and...
Clean and Sober?
Yeah. That was, other than that, I'd never really seen him in a serious role.
Right. And even that was a drama, but how's he going to beat up the Joker being clean and sober?
Right, exactly.
It's a little different.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
But
so it was kind of hard, and I'm with you all the way on that.
Right. But fun to watch, Mr. Ben Harley.
Finally,
Mr. Ben Harley, last one.
Yes,
Here
sir.
you go, because I've been saving this one from 1959. Oh, yes, okay. 1959. Watched Curse of the Undead.
Oh, all right.
Curse of the Undead. Now, you may be surprised to hear that this is one of the better Westerns I've seen in a while.
Okay.
Curse of the Undead.
Yes.
It is a Western starring Eric Fleming, otherwise known as Gil Favor from Rawhide.
Oh,
It is a movie where there is a gun for hire who comes into town who just happens to be a vampire.
Nice, yeah. Damn vampire cowboys.
Yeah, he was a vampire. And I got to tell you, it really is one of the better Westerns I've seen in a little while. I was like, hey, this is pretty good. It's a horror Western from 1959. It's very good. And I like Eric Fleming. I'm not a big... I do watch them now because it's on MeTV. But when I was younger and stuff, I never watched Rawhide. I never watched Big Valley. I never watched... I did not like Westerns. Westerns were... Okay. My grandma liked Westerns.
Yes.
So that was something my grandma watched, not me. I didn't...
Right.
I just never watched it. So... and I'm getting older now. Now I'm appreciating them more as just period dramas.
Yes.
It's really what they are. They're just different types of movies taking place in that time period. So I get it now and I enjoy it now.
I've always did like Westerns, but I've enjoyed them a lot more now. Mm-hmm. I always liked them when I was younger. Mm-hmm. Some of them I loved. Some of them they're some of my favorite movies ever. But then, I totally feel you on that.
Right.
Because there were so many of them out there, too.
Well, that's true. But to me, the Apple Dumpling Gang was about as far as I got into Westerns.
The Westerns, yeah.
That was it. Because, it was Disney. Otherwise, I did not. I literally would not watch a Western. I think the first Western I actually really watched was probably Blazing Saddles. Okay. And it's probably to this day I know it's my favorite Western. I don't care if it's comedy and everything. It's the most amazing film. Awesome. So many levels. And if you don't get it, I can't help you. But it's just incredible on so many levels. But Curse of the Undead, Mr. Ben Harley, I like it. I think it's a good movie. Yeah. I think it's
I'm gonna have to check that out. As I said, the one for me that really turned my head was High Plains Drifter. I'd seen, because my dad, I grew up watching Westerns with him, but that one for me was like, wow, this was made for me, not my dad. You know what I mean? It's and I still feel that way. For me, it just changed my attitude. Like, wow, so you can make a Western that's kind of a horror or ghost type tale,
right? Real dark.
It just blew my mind, especially at the end when he went away and disappeared, and because he asked him, "You never told me your name," or "I never," and he's like, "You knew it, or you know who I am," basically. Right. Then when he leaves, then you're like, what just happened? Was he a ghost? But for me, that was cool, though. Super cool.
A little ambiguous.
Yes,
and that's the thing with this movie, too, is that this Curse of the Undead movie is that, we've done like Billy the Kid versus Dracula and movies like that, where you basically have rubber bats bouncing off windows and things like that, like shaking around strings. This really, gets away from that. This is It's really more of they're just shooting the guy and he's not falling over because he's a vampire type of thing. And they don't.
Sure.
It's not super campy. It really isn't. I mean, and it plays like an extended episode of like Rawhide or something like that. And it's not bad. It's okay. It's not going to win an Academy Award. But this, again, Harley, I'm telling you, it's played 100% straight. There's no winking at the audience, no winking. It is just a movie where a guy comes into town to take care of some trouble. And the thing is, too, the vampire guy, he's not necessarily the villain. He comes in. He's not being
cock-blockula either.
No, he comes in. He's got a little bit of thing for late, but he comes in more as a hired gun, and he wants to. He's not an evil guy. Let's put it that way. He doesn't come in town with nefarious plans. He just wants to make money and kill somebody for somebody else, and stuff. So it's a very interesting movie. I mean, I enjoyed watching it. It actually kept me awake, and I kind of forgot I was watching a movie that had a vampire in it. It's more of a decent Western. But anyway, good time watching it, Mr. Ben Harley.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we got, Curse the Undead. Great movie. Blue Monkey, fun. Savage Streets, Bathtub. Don't need to say much more. And John Brown, what the heck. Sea Beast is more fun than it should be. Night Shift is a classic we had to go back to. Now, Mr. Ben Harley, our official film.
Yes,
our official film from 1957. 1957. Yes, we have the film The Astounding She-Monster. Let me get out the movie guy here and give you a short storyline synopsis here for The Astounding She-Monster. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. A gang of crooks have kidnapped a rich heiress and come up against a beautiful but lethal alien who has crash-landed her spaceship on Earth. There you go. Okay, so
there it is.
The beginning, you have some silent footage that could have been just stock footage of a woman being kidnapped by people in a car. And the most creepy, I don't know, kind of a rapey kind of voiceover going, that's right, just let yourself be kidnapped. It's what you're good at. You are a wealthy socialite. You can be kidnapped. Like, what the hell?
What the hell? Yeah,
are you trying to hypnotize a camera guy or something? What's going on?
Who are you trying to convince?
Right. So, to make the long short of it, these people kidnap a woman, which is just a MacGuffin. You don't really care why necessarily. And they take her out to hide out in the up there in the hills. And they get spooked by something on the road, and they crash. They crash their car. Okay, so they have to go on foot. All right, now this is all really basically being narrated by Creepy McCreepington. And then on foot, they make their way to Robert Clark's house, who, of course, Mr. Ben Harley lives up in the California mountains. And what is his profession? He is a geologist, because Mr. Ben Harley, there are only geologists in California up in the hills. It is littered. The landscape is littered. I think he bumped elbows with the geologist from the Giant from the Unknown while he was up there too. So he's doing very popular, almost as popular as in aquatic movies, being a marine biologist.
Exactly.
So he's a geologist tinkering around with the rocks up there and stuff like that. So yes, there is a meteor that crash lands in the midst of all this, and out pops this cute little curvy blonde gal with some fun makeup on, who has a jittery,
serious eyebrows.
Some serious eyebrows, some total John Waters eyebrows, and her touch will kill you.
Yes.
And these forces, Mr. Ben Harley, they all collide around the geologist's house. Yeah.
Poor guy. He's just trying to get his work done and hang out with his dog. And next thing you know, it's bum rushed, man. It's crazy because the two main bad guys, they're pretty smarmy. The one guy, man, he likes to smack people around a lot. And
Kenny Duncan, the Nat Burdell guy.
Holy crap!
So it's a very awkward moment too when Kenny Duncan breaks into Robert Clark's house to start a siege, basically, or not a siege, but to start a hostage situation
Yeah.
in the house, and he walks in being a dick. He walks in.
Yeah.
Now Robert Clark's dog that actually
He walks right into his house.
He does, and the dog gets
right
pissed. Of course, the dog starts growling and stuff. Now that really is Robert Clark's dog.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In real life, that was his collie. He probably didn't have a babysitter for it, so I had to bring it on set. So they used it. Why not? So But it's funny because he's like, the guy's like, hey, listen, I like a dog like the next guy, but when he attacks me, I'm gonna have to defend myself. And Robert Clark's like, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, excuse me. Let me wait for an invitation to come into your house. Good gravy, golly. Just attack me for walking in. It's like, what is going on, man? Who wrote this dog?
No, you just showed up in my house in the middle of nowhere, man. Like, I would be a little bit like, what are you doing here type thing.
Right. No. It's sort of like one of my favorite parts in Piranha, when Bradford Dillman is in his mountain like escape cottage, and you hear a knock at the door, and he goes, "It's open." I'm sorry, but if I'm up in a cottage in the mountains and there's a knock on my door, I'm grabbing my rifle, wondering who the hell's coming first. I don't say it's open. So anyway, but now Kenny Duncan is an interesting guy. He, the guy that breaks in, the main villain guy. Now this is one of your favorite things to do. In the movie, in Ed Wood's Night of the Ghouls, which is Ed Wood's really bad movie. I mean, it's really weird and bad. He plays the character Dr. Acula. I know you like that stuff. And he's in tons of B westerns. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
But
he's got one of them faces. Man.
He does.
He's got like a cartoonish type face.
He's got a Moe face, Moe Howard face.
He
definitely.
does totally.
Now he is also in a movie called The Crimson. It was actually a serial, I do believe, that was edited also into a film called The Crimson Ghost. And I know most people don't know who the Crimson Ghost are, but you probably have a Crimson Ghost T-shirt that says Misfits.
Misfits, yep.
Yeah, across the top of it. And Robert Clark, he was a contract player, the main guy, the geologist guy. He was a contract player at RKO. He did The Hideous Sun Demon. He was a man from Planet X. Again, plays another 50 geologist. Mr. Ben Harley, you know about the 1950s geologists? They rock.
Yes, they rock. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
They rock.
I'm sorry. I'll get my drum later.
Tim, that was great.
I know.
Nice.
Now he is playing a character by the name of Dick Cutler. Not my favorite name of all time.
No.
Okay, so, and directed by Ronnie Ashcroft, who was kind of more of an editor than he was a director. He did direct the movie Girl with an Itch.
Whoa, hey now.
All right, and
wait a second.
Right, so then Kenny Duncan is a main bad guy. He has another ruffian guy with him who likes to. He has a knife he likes to screw around with. He likes to carve his name into things like Robert Clark's coffee table.
You almost get smacked up for that one. I know, man. Seriously,
rudest kidnappers of all time. I mean, just rude.
Oh, they are too. And then they got a girl with them, man, who's just a lush, man, and she drinks everything but the rubbing alcohol in this movie. She's like, what? She's almost to that point, though. She almost
she's definitely a drinky McDrunk tank. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, the woman that they kidnap is sort of a toss-away kind of person. You never really... Yeah. She's kind of doesn't really play real, smart either.
And you don't really warm up to her a whole lot, though.
No. You don't really warm up to much. I like the dog.
Yeah, the dog's probably the best character.
That's a cute collie. I like that dog. So I kind of warmed up to the Astounding She-Monster, I got to tell you.
Yeah, I did too. The way she's got some curves, too.
She sure does. She sure does. That was supposedly played. Now, here's something interesting. So supposedly played by a woman named Shirley Kilpatrick. Okay. Now, here's a little funny thing. Do you ever notice how she's kind of like walking funny? And then she's kind of like off to the side, and then she backs her way out of rooms and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like they reversed the film or something.
No, she actually tore the backside of the costume.
Oh, I can see why.
I wish I could see why. They weren't showing her booty enough, and that's why.
No, they do one time, I think, in the whole movie, like, because I was like, I was surprised with as tight of an outfit as that was, they would want to show.
Right. Well, that's the thing. She couldn't get in and out of it. So and she couldn't sit down or anything when they were making it. So they had to put like a board down. They had to lay her backward to rest when she was making this stuff. Yeah. But check this out. So there's this rumor. Now, she supposedly died at 35 years old. According to IMDb, okay, I kind of did some investigating. Let's get Harley and the deep. We didn't say hi to the deep thinkers. They're listening.
Hey, deep thinkers.
Holy crap, we didn't say hi to them. Anyway, so the deep thinkers, they already knew they were. They already knew that they were. They're here for crying out loud.
Yes,
we don't need to acknowledge that as much. So she died supposedly at 35. And what I was going to say is the deep thinkers might be surprised by this, but I do my homework sometimes. It does happen every now and then. Yeah. But there is a rumor that she changed her name to Shirley Stoller. Okay. Now, appearing under this new name, apparently they also say that the same woman was in the Honeymoon Killers as the plump kind of bride in that film. And if you start looking at pictures, you're going to go, So, and they say that Shirley Kilpatrick was a exotic dancer, let's say. And she wanted to change her name to kind of leave that stigma behind. So she, I won't say faked her death, but there was no more Shirley Kilpatrick. There is now Shirley Stoller. That is the rumor. Now, Harley, this is going to freak you out. But I had mentioned to you that we were watching the 1982 film Night Shift, right?
Yes.
There is a scene where they go through a diner in New York. Yeah. And the camera pans across the people sitting at the diner. And I paused it and I showed it to Angie and said, I'm pretty sure that is the Astounding She-Monster sitting at the and she said, no, hold on. If you're right, that's just wrong. And I showed her the pictures and I showed her that. She lived in New York where that was filmed. Okay. And Angie could not argue with me.
No.
She was like, nice. So I think the Astounding She-Monster is sitting in it. I think, I'm just telling you, even has kind of that pencil drawn makeup and stuff like that. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
It was some eyebrows from the heavens.
Right.
Geez Louise.
And to make her seem otherworldly, they did this camera trick where they basically bonked the side of the camera to make the shutter jitter around.
Yeah, that was a little off-putting. So sometimes it looked kind of cool. Sometimes it did, but then sometimes I'm like, "Oh man, is my eye?" I'm like, "My eye's dry now."
You were trying to focus in on the outfit, and it kept getting blurry. That's the problem. Right. Right. So, and basically, what we have here is it is a hostage situation, and there is a monster outside, the She-Monster. Yes. And she is the common threat to the kidnappers and the people who are being kidnapped, basically, and being held against their will. And so what you have is, I mean, it's a pretty good setup for movies. That's pretty
and basically
common.
You're just got people just getting picked off, as they go outside. The one kidnapper who liked to carve stuff, he gets picked off first, and then his buddy goes looking for him, then the dog gets picked off, and then it's just kind of the one thing that, I mean, for the most part it was really cool, but like they kept going back to his house. Like they go back to the geologist's house, and then she'd show up, and then they all go running out again, and then they'd show back up at the house, and then she'd show up again, and then they would leave. And then it happened like 4 times. I'm like, the one time I was like, oh my God, if they go back to that house, I'm gonna die. And sure enough, and like, oh my God, how many times? Now there is a little Toledo connection, I think, Timo, in this movie, and because there's a Jeep that they talk about a lot in this movie, and I'm pretty sure that was made here in Toledo.
There you go.
Back, that's one of them old,
right?
But for the most part, I thought it kind of reminded me of a slasher. Movie a little bit, because she wasn't. I kept thinking to myself too, if you guys just keep running. Just a brief jog.
right.
Or just walk fast. You're going to get away from her, man, because she's like Michael Myers. She doesn't walk real. She's just kind of, which was kind of creepy, though, and stuff, which was kind of neat, too. But, no. she knows you're going to go back to the house, so she just keeps showing. So it's easy for her, She just knows. But I think for the most part, though, Tim, it's a really. It started out, for me, same thing. It's like, man, I had a hard time at first. It wasn't that it was real super slow, but I'm like, I just had a hard time with hearing it and things like that, But once they got going, I really started. It drew me in once they got to, the cabin and things started to happen, and it really kind of drew me in a lot more at that point. Too,
well, it's basically like a 40 minutes of a true movie, and then unfortunately 20 minutes of padding, and I mean it is like. It sticks out. It is packed. Yeah. I mean, they have driving, they have walking, and even some of the action scenes are kind of padded out. They're like, and they don't edit. They just hang, and I'm going, So they're really trying to get a feature length film here out of something that could have been it could have been a Twilight Zone episode, basically, and they're really trying to pull it out, and it's. And all the narration and stuff is so obvious kind of what they're doing. But the thing is that there's something there. Like, it would have been a good shorter, or they could have had some other, maybe a couple more characters to get killed or something like that could have been
some hunters or something.
Yeah, because I enjoyed the movie, but the pimples were there front and center. And that's what I'm saying. The main problem right there, and I think you would have to agree, is the padding. I mean, it's padded out so hard. The interesting thing is that this Ronnie Ashcroft guy who made this movie, he was working as a sound editor or a sound effects editor on the movie The Day the World Ended. I don't know if you remember that. That was a movie very similar to this, with the demon monster with the little arms coming off his shoulders and stuff. Very similar movie, though. There was a geologist and everything. They were at his house. It was basically, this is almost a remake of that movie, except if you remember in that movie, there was a nuclear war, and they were in that valley because the fallout wasn't going
valley
there.
Protected them.
Yes. So he worked on that, and he was surprised by the one location, only a few actors to deal with, and they made a pretty decent little movie there. He got inspired, and he decided to make this Astounding She-Monster. And if you think about that movie and this movie, you got about the same movie. There's one thing in this movie, though, that I really like, and it's kind of like the moment. And I was telling you about that shark movie Tintoretto, which is this awful, terrible shark movie. It's not even a shark movie. They throw shark footage in every now and then. But there's a great shot of a guy standing 2 or 3 feet of water, and a shark just goes right up to him. Boop. I mean, there is no editing. It is a shark coming up to a guy. I don't know how they did it. And this movie has that one moment. And I think you know where I'm going to go with this, but the she-monster is menacing them through the windows, of the cabin that they're in and stuff. And there's one moment where she just comes leaping through the window.
I love that part.
Just charging through the window and just crashing through it. And you do not expect it.
No, And it's this good part because to me, that's kind of reminded me of a slasher film, because I'm like, oh, here she comes. And she does, just smashes through the window.
Right.
It's a really good, intense scene, because at one point, the one kidnapper, not the main one, but the second guy, he sees
the carver,
her,
the guy carves stuff.
Yeah, he sees her, and he's like, "What the heck was that?" And then later on, when she comes crashing through the window, it's a pretty intense scene. I thought it was really good, really good.
Right. I think the only issue is that she kills people by touching them. It's like, I mean, I don't know.
She moves real slow.
She sure does. She does. Yeah.
She's you'd be 5 feet away from you, and I'm like, oh my God, did she even touch? Nope, she just kind of stands there and waits for them to run away.
Right. But that's sort of like when you have a low budget movie and then you have a monster, and the monster happens to be invisible.
Right.
For a deadly touch like that, I'm like, oh man, come on, because she comes up to a guy, and first of all, I mean, these people are afraid of her. They're paralyzed with fear. They wait for her to get over to them, and then she just goes. Just kind of touches him, rubs her shoulder, and they go,
Yeah.
So
Just remember too, she actually fights a bear.
well, that thing too. Now look, that bear was a dick. Hold on, check this out. So this movie didn't really have a real script apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, according to what I've looked up, that there was really no written script, and they kind of made it up as they went along. Now that is code in Hollywood for we made it up as we got money.
Yeah.
So we got funding, we shot some more, we did this and that. So one of the things that I guess that Ronnie Ashcroft wanted was a bear. I guess for her to show how powerful the she-monster was or whatever. So they shoot this trained bear. All right, they shoot some scenes with it or whatever, and Ronnie Ashcroft is editing the movie together and realizes, oh Jesus, I don't have enough bear footage. So this is going to explain some of that awkward bear footage at the end too. He's like, I don't have enough bear footage. So he calls the bear trainer and says, "Hey, you saw that bear?" He goes, "Oh yeah, he's in the deep freeze." He was a real dick, so we had to put him down. We're going to eat him. And the bear was a dick. It was real mean and stuff. And so, wow, I guess the bear was a dick. Its own handler shot it, put it in the deep freeze to eat.
I was going to eat him later.
Right. So what do you do? What do you do? You got no bear. So what do you do? So what he does is he hires old Kenny Duncan, the main bad guy, to come over and basically cover up with like a bearskin rug. And that's what you see at the end of the movie when it's kind of like, it looks like there's a bear hump in the dirt. That is the bad guy. That's Kenny Duncan. He's in some kind of fur costume, like kind of slithering across the ground. But check this out. Apparently, when they're filming that scene, it was just, I think, Ronnie Ashcroft and Kenny Duncan. And Ronnie Ashcroft said, I heard Kenny Duncan in the bear outfit coughing, going, hey, hold on, Ron. Hold on. And apparently he comes out of the costume with a lit cigarette.
Oh my God.
He was smoking a cigarette in the costume. And he smoked himself out. He didn't realize he was gonna suffocate himself in there. So he comes out smoking a cigarette. So
because I know the part when like the bear actually she touches the bear, it's like all you really see is just this little bit of his head pop up, and it looks so fake to you. Like, oh, geez, man. Well, so, now I see why.
Right. And that's what's funny, though. Part of that bear is actually real, and then part of it's not, but it's actually Kenny Duncan smoking a cigarette under a fur carpet, basically. So
that's not real smart, Tim.
No, it's not. But Mr. Ben Harley, it was 1957. They didn't make real smart people yet. They didn't make real loyal people.
They sure did, right?
Yeah, which I don't know. It might take a loyal person, too. So, but anyway, what a silly little fun little movie. But I tell you what, here's the thing too. It's an hour long, and it's padded.
It's real breezy.
It's a padded hour. I mean, it is a padded hour.
It's not. Yeah, there's not a lot going on. There's not. I mean, there's not a lot to remember. There's not a lot of characters. Which I liked. The fact that there wasn't a whole lot to. I don't need that all the time. I just want to watch a movie. I don't really need to think too much anymore.
Right.
You don't get paid to think, Tim.
right. And the Astounding She-Monster, she's okay. I mean, she is kind of creepy, which is nice. And she's kind of pleasant if you're okay with 1950s ladies. With me and Ben Harley are way okay with that. And and that window crashing scene. Actually, if you watch that real close, I think they actually broke the glass first. So when she comes breaking through the window's already broken. So there's only some glass left on it, and she kind of just jumps through it. So there's just a lot of little mistakes and things like continuity errors and stuff. But it's played straight, and I've been saying forever that is where you're going to get a movie. Okay, it's going to work if you play it straight. So it's played straight. They try to make her menacing. You don't. The problems don't stick out like sore thumbs, except for some of the padding where they're doing the narration. Yeah,
that's a little weird. It was odd at first, because especially right after the kidnapping, when they're walking her through the woods, there's still some more. I'm like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. Who's talking? Who's saying this stuff?
Exactly. That's a good point. Exactly right.
Who's talking?
Right. It's it's almost obviously a Band-Aid over a gaping wound. In a real. So but again, when you got a movie, it's an hour long. It's okay. It just makes it a little funnier, and stuff. And like I said, the characters are they're doing the best they can. They're trying, and stuff. And it's a fun little movie. It is a fun little movie. I've seen a lot worse. Is it a perfect movie? Oh, God, no. Is it even the best, most fun 50s movie? No, it's not. No. But there's something about these movies, Harley, and I don't know if you can articulate it. Right. With the difference between something, it's just enjoyable or not enjoyable. This movie is just enjoyable. Yeah. It's enjoyable. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. And it's just, I said it, you know, like you're saying, it does have some padding, but it's just, it was fun. You know, it's not trying to be too much. There were a lot of scenes in the movie that I was like, holy crap, man. A lot, you know, I'm like, oh, geez, you know, and there's, you know, a lot of it's with the kidnappers and the way they're treating the woman. I'm like, geez Louise, man, this is wow, you know. And then, but like also, same thing with her crashing through the window. I thought there was a lot of scenes with her where she looked super menacing, you know, like super, super menacing.
Well, she goes after Kenny Duncan too, and then falls off of a cliff. That's a weird part too. And then they think they kill her, and she comes back. You know, that's the other thing too. She is very hard to kill, and they try multiple times to kill her, and nothing really seems to work. And that's a trope that's done later on. A lot more than done back then. Usually the movies, the people are being menaced, and they finally come up with a brilliant idea like Scooby-Doo style. And even if the first thing doesn't work, it falls into something that does work. In this movie, they try multiple things and nothing's working. And that's a little bit more of a newer, a further in the future trope that isn't done as much. I think that worked really well, and that made her more menacing. You know, as well, to see her fall down. I mean, because you kind of think she's dead. You're like, oh, wow, they killed her by falling off a cliff. That's it. And then you see her get back up. You're like, and then they're trying to like throw fire on her. They're trying everything. You know, nothing seems to be working. That's a good part of it too. But you know, it's funny though. What is it though? And I'm seriously asking you this question because I thought about this too. What is it that makes this movie, to me and you, fun, enjoyable and watchable, but a movie like The Monster from Green Hell with the real bad locust monsters that were like, remember they were barely movable? They were like bad. Yeah. Their wings were stop motion animation. The rest of them were just like scooting along the ground. But what makes that movie so horrible that we just don't like it? And this movie's so much better that we do enjoy it. Because I don't really know if one's really technically a better movie than the other one. No, you're right. And I just think a lot of this, I think too, one of the reasons you and I enjoyed this too is it's kind of like in our wheelhouse too. It's not a feral killer out in the woods, but it's a curvy killer out in the woods. You know what I mean? But it still kind of has that feeling of like a Friday the 13th or something, or some kind of, you know what I mean? Right. And I don't know. I just think she's easy on the eyes. She's menacing and things like that. But you're not always looking at it like, oh, God, that's painful to look at. You know, like a lot of these monsters in some of these movies that we watch, are you like, oh, this is really great. Then you see the monster and you're like, oh, you know, and it kind of takes it. So I think that, I don't know if that's something to do with it. Well, maybe also, too, you know, as you're talking about that, I'm thinking, too, and I'm wondering, you know, there are movies, and we, again, it's all about articulating things. And maybe we don't articulate it well enough, but there are movies who seem like they're kind of embarrassed to be what they are. And other movies seem like they embrace them. And it feels like, and movies do that today, through the 80s, through today. When we see movies, we call them cheat. They cheat. They don't do this. They're trying to, it's almost like movies trying to draw audiences that don't normally like that type of movie. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And The Astounding She-Monster to me is not trying to do that. It's just trying to draw in someone who wants to see a spooky she-monster, you know, in tights that is unkillable, or you know, like they're really embracing the idea. And then some other movies, like the Monster from Green Hell, it seemed like it had a lot of jungle drama to it. Like, well, you know, if you think monsters are silly and childlike, we do have the drama, you know, the jungle drama. What are you talking about? That's the fun part of the movie, the monsters. That's why people are here to see the monster from Green Hell, not the jungle drama. Maybe that's it too. Maybe it's embracing what it is as opposed to being embarrassed by it. I mean, you know, it's a lot of movies are like that though, Harley.
Yeah, you're right.
Nature Run Amok movies are like that.
Yes.
You know, they want to keep it the animal thing down to a minimum and keep it to more of a drama, you know. I don't know. Yeah, it seems like some movies are embarrassed to be what they should be. Yeah. And other movies embrace it, and this movie certainly embraces what it is.
Oh, big time. And I appreciate that actually. So, you know, I'm going to give this though. I'm going to give it a great vape up. Buddy.
Yeah,
I am. Yep.
Like a normal grape ape, huge? Or?
Yeah, just a normal.
Yeah.
No, just normal.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Just a normal. It could have made it to huge, but it was close.
Depending on how much that she-monster would have been falling out.
Oh, my goodness. Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
She had enough to rip a costume, that's for sure.
Yeah. It was, and it was, she was awkwardly moving around. And it works.
Oh, man.
It helps.
Yeah, it does.
It helps because she's so
awkward,
weird.
Yeah.
And now you just know because her backside was torn. But it works. There's like little things that just kind of all come together for it. So I'm gonna agree with you, Harley. I'm gonna give it a regular grape ape up. Movie is not ashamed of what it is. It is what it is. And the padding is almost so bad it's entertaining because you're kind of creeped out by it. Like I don't like that. I don't like any of the narration. It's a very like ominous. Almost just, I don't know if they were going for quite that dark of a kidnapping, that ooh, what are these people up to? I don't like that voice at all. Like, that's okay. Just lay back and let us kidnap you. Don't like that at all. So, but again, like I said, it doesn't outstay its welcome and everything. So, grape ape up also. Yeah. So, all right. Well, 2 grape ape up for the Astounding She-Monster. Can't believe I'm saying about that. It is what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is, my friend.
All right, Harley, let's get the hell out of here. I don't know what we're doing next week, but you know what? Maybe it will be just as astounding as the She-Monster was. So all you deep thinkers out there, be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll be right back here next week, so stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.